take note of every single point that I'm mentioning here. Because a big issue that companies face is when they get people in on the lower end. And I say this in the respectful way, but when someone's on a £25,000 a year salary, the risk with those £25,000 a year salary, it's much higher. Usually it's the younger generation. Usually it's the generation that actually wants to move around a lot more. Usually they don't really care as much. You know, it's just a fact. And I've been in recruitment, again, to reiterate, for 11 years. So I understand completely where the problems are for companies. And when you're paying someone between 22,000 to 27, 28,000, generically speaking, in terms of a ratio, your success rate is much lower compared to someone who's getting paid 60, 70, 80,000, who maybe is older, has responsibility, children, and they can't take the risk. Someone who is maybe 22, 23 is taking a lot of risk. They don't really care as much. And so when you replace that person, not only are you reducing cost here, but actually you're increasing productivity. And the way you increase productivity is by giving an offer to someone who is in need of an offer, who actually is grateful for the offer, who actually you're paying way more than the average cost in that country, for example. And you're paying them way more than they get paid as the average individual in that country. And obviously the cost of living is tons, much lower, right? That is the reality. The cost is much lower. So actually you're giving everyone a solution. You're giving the company a solution in terms of charging much less and finding someone who will be there for them, work extra and put in that effort. Right? You're then in essence, this is what you're doing, right? The person who gets paid 60, 70,000 pounds a year, and that behavior and how they are and their responsibility, etc., that sort of work ethic is what you get by paying someone 700 pounds, right? In a country, for example, where the cost of living is much lower. That's the sort of attitude you get, because that is much more. So to give you guys an idea, if I was to pay 500 pounds a month in Pakistan, where the average salary, I would say, is between 40 and 60,000 rupees a month. 40 and 60,000 rupees a month, by the way, is roughly about 150 pounds a month. But actually, if I then pay them 400, 450 pounds, 500 pounds a month, and then I'm charging the company 750, 800 pounds a month, then you're not doing bad. And we will obviously go into the numbers, and I will explain exactly how you can make 10,000 pounds a month profit very quickly, but that's a little bit later in the course. Bearing in mind, another problem that you're solving for the company is what you would say is, regardless of if this person is in or not, your work is going to get done. So they're paying for an employee in Pakistan, right, away from the holidays, because you can't really control holidays and public holidays for that country. But that person won't really call in sick. And even if they call in sick, it's fine. You as a company are still going to provide that service, because you might have 3-4 people carrying out custom support, admin, PA roles, whatever it is, right? And actually someone else, it would be your job to get someone else to just cover that person's sick leave, which is very easy when you have 4 or 5 people working in an office for you. Someone just picks up the work. But it means for the company, they're reducing cost, they're increasing productivity. There is no such thing as sick leave and that sort of thing, because your work will get done. As a client, as a person who's providing you a service, it's on me to get that work done, and so I would do that. And hopefully that gives you an idea of why a company would even use you. The solution that you're giving. There are problems, they exist, by the way, and you're giving them a solution. You're reducing cost, the productivity is more, and you're making sure that the work gets done regardless. Now, it's a win-win for companies.